Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Robo Celestial here with a new video for you. Welcome to What If Deku Was a Dragon Slayer. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. Over to the side of the battlefield. Three of Urza's students watched the battle with growing concern. Midoriya, Wendy, and Kaminari knew that if this battle continued then their teacher might be killed. That idea spurred the youths into action. Midoriya looked at his comrades with a determined expression. Kaminari, you are the fastest of us. Use your speed to get behind Shigaraki and knock him out with your lighting. Wendy, use your cure magic to heal Sensei's wounds. I will hold down Namu. Wendy looked at her green-haired friend with a determined look. Good plan, Midoriya. I am with you. Kaminari gave the two Dragon Slayers a thumbs up. I am in too. Let's do this. The three students rushed onto the scene and did as planned. Each of the magic users was determined to protect their teacher and their friends. Kaminari used his lighting body spell to get behind Shigaraki. The electric youth then zapped the gray-haired villain until he passed out. Funny, I figured a creepy-looking dude like this would be able to take more juice than that. Guess you should not judge a book by its cover. Now let's make sure you cannot cause us any more trouble. I have wanted to use this spell for some time. The electric teen focused his magic power and a magic circle appeared on the ground underneath Shigaraki. Kaminari then shouted with a firm voice, lighting magic, paralysis binding. But those words, ropes of electric energy appeared around the handed villain. Wendy rushed over to Urza and checked her teacher's injuries. The small girl had seen the injuries inflicted from a distance, but they looked even worse up close. The skin of both elbows had been dissolved, for lack of a better word, and the muscle was way more damaged than she thought. Wendy was amazed that Urza could still move her arms at all after receiving an injury like this. The blue-haired girl silently wondered to herself if Urza was even human, with those thoughts running through her mind. Wendy set to work healing her teacher with her cure magic. Midoriya wasted no time going on the attack. The fire-eating youth lit his fists on fire and shouted at the top of his lungs, Fire Dragon, Crimson Lotus. The green-haired youth unleashed a barrage of flaming punches against Namu. The creature just stood there and took the fiery blows. Midoriya's fists left burning dents in the creature's black hide. The creature then started to advance on Midoriya, the burning wounds healing, but much more slowly than his other wounds had. Namu then ran at Midoriya, raising his massive fist to deliver a punch to Midoriya's gut. The powerful man managed to maneuver in such a way so that the blow only half hit him, but the attack still sent the greenette flying through the air. Midoriya landed a few feet away. Midoriya managed to get his feet under him. However, the teen knew that something wasn't right. I think that blow cracked my ribs. This Namu guy might just be as strong as All Might. I can't let this thing hit me square on or I am finished. As Midoriya rambled to himself, Namu advanced on him at shocking speed. The bird-faced villain raised his right fist to deliver another blow against the fire user. Midoriya braced himself to take the attack, thinking that it was going to hurt. But no attack came. When the Dragon Slayer looked up, the right side of the creature's body was coated in ice. The green teen then saw a trail of ice and followed it with his eyes. Sure enough, running toward the battlefield was Shoto Todoroki, using the break in the creature's attack. Midoriya leaped out of the giant humanoid's path and joined his classmate. Thanks for the save, Todoroki. No problem. I am just glad I was able to get here in time. The exchange between the two students was interrupted when Namu broke free of his ice confinement. This caused the creature's frozen limbs to break free from his body. Namu fell onto the ground in a heap, before the two boys could even get shocked by the bloody display in front of them. The destructive being's arm and legs started to regrow. Todoroki maintained a calm demeanor. This is bad. How are we supposed to stop this thing? It can regenerate, but it has a weakness against fire. My blows before healed much slower. That makes sense. Most regeneration quirks don't work well on burns and scars. But how does that help us? If we burn his legs and arms away, then that should disable him long enough for the authorities to come and arrest him. That is a good plan. But can you generate enough fire on your own to do that? No, but you can use fire on your left side, right? I don't use my left side in battle. Really? Why? The adamant youth got an angry expression on his face. He replied to his classmate with a guarded tone. It's a long story. Midoriya spoke to the bi-colored teen in an annoyed but adamant voice. Well, we don't have time for that now. If we don't do this, Todoroki, then this thing has orders to kill all of our classmates. Do you want their blood on your hands? This video is sponsored by NordVPN. Staying safe online is an ever-growing difficulty, and hackers could exploit you. NordVPN allows you to change your IP address, making you harder to track, securing your privacy, in addition to providing you with safe passage through the web. You can also expand the reach of your favorite streaming services. Are you tired of going through 3 or even 4 streaming services to watch your favorite anime. Well, with NordVPN, you can change your country and be able to binge shows like My Hero Academia, Naruto, and many others on your favorite streaming service with just a press of a button. Check out the link in the description to get 72% off when buying for 2 years divided by $3.29 a month. This deal is for a limited time. And thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Todoroki stared at his left hand. Thoughts of his father, the flame hero endeavor, flowed through his mind. With these thoughts, all of the anger and hatred he had for the man turned his blood into magma. But then the enraged boy saw Midoriya before him and his teacher being healed over to the side. The sight brought a sense of calm back to Todoroki. The elemental boy then thought of his classmates fighting for their lives against the villains. He knew he had no choice but to follow Midoriya's plan. There was no other way of stopping this beast. Todoroki looked at Midoriya with a determined gaze. Okay, but just this once. That is good for now. I will take the right. You take the left. What are we waiting for? Both boys charged up their fire power. Midoriya focused all of his remaining magic power into his Fire Dragon Roar attack. Todoroki's left side started to glow a reddish yellow. The bicolored teen channeled all of that power into his left hand. As the two heroes in training reached their max power, Namu finished regrowing his right side. Midoriya and Todoroki wasted no time and unleashed two powerful streams of fire. The waves of fire hit Namu with a blistering force. The mindless beast tried to charge forward, but was unable to break through the awesome burning display of the two 1A students. The flames of the two youths were so bright that the area was blanketed in a blinding light. After several minutes, the light subsided and the scene that was revealed was shocking. Namu laid on the ground, missing both of his arms and legs, as well as most of his torso. Todoroki and Midoriya had fallen to their knees. Both of the teens were completely drained of energy after such an attack. A short distance away, Wendy, still healing Urza, had witnessed the display of fire power. Good job, you two. Now I need to do my part and heal our master. Back at the front gate, Bakugo and Kirishima had captured Kirigiri. The two boys had then had Zero use his tape to secure the villain. Just as the boys finished tying up the shadowy villain, the front doors of the USJ burst open. All Might walked in with a stern look on his face. The #1 hero had run over here to fight bad guys, but was shocked to find that the leaders of the attack had been captured. Bakugo saw All Might standing there with a shocked look on his face and spoke in a choky tone. Are you just going to stand there, or are you going to help us with this guy? This comment by the brazen youth broke the muscular man out of his thoughts. The tall man walked over to check on the villain. Turned out that the boys did a good job of restraining him. The #1 hero showed his students his approval by giving them a thumbs up. Not too long after All Might's arrival, the other UA staff members and the police arrived at the USJ. The rest of the stray villains were rounded up and arrested. Shigaraki, Kirigiri, and were placed in a reinforced transport van and were taken to police headquarters. Detective Tsukachi took charge of the scene. After greeting his friend All Might, the detective went to work. All right, everyone. Make sure that the lead villains are transported to the precinct for holding first. I will want to question them first. The dapper man then turned to Principal Nezu. Principal Nezu, I wanted to tell you that we will be conducting a full investigation into this incident. I understand, Detective. You have my full permission to proceed. If anyone gives you trouble, just send them to me. Thank you for your cooperation. Wendy spoke up at this point. Sir, what about Mrs. Scarlet? No need to worry, young lady. Your teacher is doing fine. She still has several broken bones, but I am told that most of her injuries were not as serious as they should have been. All in all, I would say she will be back teaching in no time. Wendy and the other 1A students sighed in relief. All of them had been worried about their teacher, even after Wendy's healing. The red-haired woman was still in bad shape. Wendy started to cry at this thought. If only I was able to use my healing powers better, then Mrs. Scarlet wouldn't be in the hospital right now. Midoriya and Kaminari walked over and put their hands on the small girl's shoulders. This action caused the female dragon slayer to look up at her friends. Wendy, this isn't your fault. Those villains had very destructive powers. Our teacher was lucky that you were there to render first aid to her. He is right, Wendy. You were awesome. Mina Ashido butted in with her usual perky enthusiasm. I totally agree. You were awesome, class rep. By the way, why didn't you tell us that you had two quirks like Todoroki? Wendy then got a worried look on her face. Well, it isn't that I didn't want to tell you. It is just that I focused on training my air powers to get into UA. My healing powers work very slowly. I figured they wouldn't be of much use in becoming a hero. I am afraid you are very wrong in that line of thought, Mrs. Marvell. Principal Nezu walks up to the blue-haired girl with a knowing look in his eyes. While your healing powers may not have helped you get into UA, they are not useless at all, even if they are weak right now. That does not mean that they cannot get stronger. The power to heal others is a rare one in this world. From what Recovery Girl told me, even with Urza's superhuman levels of durability and strength, she would have still been in the hospital for a month. By using your power, you cut that time in half. From now on, train your healing powers with the same vigor that you trained your combat power. Wendy tried her best to stop crying, but the praise from her friends and the principal was too much. It took the emotional girl several minutes. Finally, Wendy managed to reply in a shaky and raspy voice. "Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. You are most welcome." Nezu then turned to face the whole class. "You 20 have been through quite an ordeal today. Please expect my apology for that. After the police have gotten what they need, I want all of you to go home and get some rest." Class 1A responded with a group "Yes, sir." Later that day, a convoy of armored trucks was moving the captured to a holding facility. The lead truck was carrying Shigaraki. The gray-haired man was sitting in the back of the vehicle alone with his whole body restricted by a giant cuff-like device. Shigaraki was fuming at the fact that he had gotten captured by a bunch of kids. He was even more angry that All Might never even showed up. As the man sat stewing over his massive failure, a symbol appeared on the wall. The design looked like a Z with an eye in the middle. Shigaraki's eyes went wide when he saw the symbol. The thin man knew what the symbol meant. Shigaraki's mouth went dry as he spoke. "Master Zeref." A voice spoke through the symbol with an even tone. "Tamura, I see that you failed in your mission to kill All Might. Not only that, but you got yourself captured. So are you here to gloat?" Shigaraki never liked this man. He was a partner of his master's. He had known Zeref for a long time, but he did not trust him. "Yes, but I am also here to release you." "Why would you want to do that? You hate me after all." "I only hate one person in this world, Tamura Shigaraki, and it is not you. But to answer your question, your master still has use of you. My partnership with him is essential to my goals. That is the reason I am spending my time retrieving a spoiled brat like you from the consequences of such a terrible plan. I hope you don't expect a thank you. What would I do with your thanks?" "Now hold on." Suddenly the truck swerved to the left and crashed into something. Shigaraki was thrown to the floor of the truck. The impact caused the angry man to black out for a minute. When he awoke, the dark figure of Zeref stood in the back door of the truck. The principal decided to give Class 1A 3 days off from their studies. The bear dog decided to do this in light of the attack on the USJ and the escape of Shigaraki and Kurogiri from police custody. This time also allowed the police to gather the information they needed from the students and staff. Nezu and the UA staff took the break to discuss what measure they were going to take going forward. Midoriya used these days to recuperate from his injuries. It turned out that the green-haired boy had received several fractured ribs from his fight with Namo. Thankfully, Wendy offered to help heal him up. After 2 hours of healing and a day of sleep, Midoriya was back to normal. On the second day of the break, Midoriya was in his room writing notes in his notebooks like a fiend. The attack on the USJ gave the students of 1A a first-hand look at the evil they would face when they graduated from UA. Midoriya knew that he needed to train even harder. Wendy and Recover Girl had ordered Midoriya to not do any physical training over the break, so if the green team could not train his body, he would train his mind. At some point, the studious boy's mind turned toward his classmate Todoroki. Midoriya wondered why the two-tone boy would refuse to use half of his power. Midoriya did not know. But from the look on the serious teen's face, it must have been a very painful reason. Midoriya finally decided that he would not push the subject. After all, Midoriya barely knew Todoroki, and he did not feel comfortable making such an inquiry. The intelligent teen was so lost in thought that he nearly jumped out of his seat when he heard a knock at his door. Who is it?" Midoriya opened the door. "Izuku, you have a guest." The loving woman had tears in her eyes. Izuku became concerned when he saw the tears in his mother's eyes. "Mom, what is wrong? Did something bad happen?" Inko wiped her eyes. "Everything is fine, Izuku. Like I said, you have a guest." "Okay. Well, who is it?" "I am not expecting anyone." Izuku got a quizzical look on his face as he rubbed his chin in confusion. "Well, she said her name is Wendy Marvell. She is the girl you are always going on about, right?" Izuku smiled at the news that Wendy had come to visit him. "Wendy, really? I wonder what she is doing here." "Well, the easiest way to find out would be to come out and ask her." "Good idea." Izuku got off the bed and walked toward his bedroom door. "By the way, sweetie, is there anything going on between you two?" "What do you mean, Mom?" "It is just that you were really happy to hear that she had come to see you. And she is a really cute girl." Izuku blushed at his mother's comments. "Well, she is my friend, so of course I would be happy to see her." Inko rubbed her chin and looked at her son with a knowing glance. "Okay, Izuku. Well, just promise your mother you will be careful. After all, she seems like a really nice girl." She is. She is also kind, supportive, caring, and thoughtful also." "Interesting that you seem to know her so well. Good luck." The woman then led the now ruby-faced Izuku to the living room, where Wendy awaited the two. Wendy had come to Midoriya home to check on the boy, while her cure magic had healed the boy's fractured bones. She wanted to make sure that the green-haired boy was taking it easy like the recovery girl told him. She knew the boy well enough to know that he would take any opportunity to train. A lot like Natsu in that way. Wendy saw Inko come back down the hallway with Izuku behind her. Wendy immediately got concerned when she saw how red his face was. Midoriya, are you okay? You look like you're running a fever. The small girl placed her hand on his forehead. This only made the boy turn even more red. Izuku shook his head to remove the thought his mother had placed there. When he had calmed down a little, he replied, I am fine, Wendy. I just had a lot on my mind. What are you doing here? I came to make sure you are doing what recovery girl instructed you to do. I know how you are. Midoriya was surprised by this answer. I promise I have not been training. The only thing I have been doing is homework and study. Okay. That is good to hear. The pigtailed girl paused in thought for a moment. Just so you know, everyone else is fine. It seems that they only got minor cuts and bruises. Everyone is determined to get back to training. I am glad to hear that. How do you know that, Wendy? The tiny girl pointed her figure at Izuku. Did forget that I am the class representative. I feel it is part of my job to make sure my classmates are doing well. You certainly are taking your position seriously. Of course I am. Everyone put their faith in me to lead the class. I will do everything I can to make sure our class performs better. I know you can do it, Wendy. Izuku paused for a moment. He was unsure if he should say this, but he decided to say it anyway. I am really glad you came to check on me. Wendy, I am always happy to see you. Wendy got a mild blush from the greenette's admission. That is really sweet of you. Izuku, I enjoy seeing you too. It was at this point that Inko came back into the room. Mrs. Marvell, how about you join us for lunch? I wouldn't want to impose Mrs. Midoriya. Nonsense. It wouldn't be an imposition at all. Besides, I would like to get to know one of my son's friends. Okay then, sure. Excellent. Let me go get the food started. In short order, Inko prepared a delicious lunch. The three sat down to enjoy the food in each other's company. Meanwhile, in a hidden bar, Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and Zeref stood before a flat-screen television. The television was blank except for the words sound only displayed in purple texts across the black screen. Suddenly, a deep, calm voice spoke through the speakers of the television. The voice had a malignant tone to it, but it had no emotion. Well, you failed, Tamura. It wasn't my fault, Master. Those little punks were way stronger than they should have been. They should not have been that strong. It would seem that UA has several students that could prove very dangerous. Let me have another shot at them, Master. I will not fail again. I will destroy them all. No, going after the children again would be foolhardy. For now, Tamura, think about the ways that you must improve. This is all a game. Fail as many times as you need to. This is all for you, my boy. Thank you, Master. Now, if you would go to your room. I need to speak with Zeref for a moment. Whatever you say. Master. Shigaraki left the room with a look of absolute hatred on his face. Now, Zeref, thank you for the assistance. Our partnership made it necessary for me to act. But I do not see what you see in that boy. He is filled with far too much hatred. Tamura will serve his purpose. Now about our deal. We need to discuss our next steps. I would agree. While Tamura did not kill All Might as planned, he did accomplish the first step. The dark-haired man mused for a moment. You do play the long game. Hopefully we can both get what we want out of this plan. Let us hope so, or you will not get the prize you so seek. Honey is a free browser add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, and Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, Kohl's. Wherever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out at these major sites, click that little orange button and it will scan the entire internet and find discount codes for you. It takes 2 clicks to install Honey. Now anytime you check out, Honey will scan the entire internet and find coupon codes for you. If there is a coupon code, they will find it. And if there's not a coupon code, you can rest assured that you are getting the best price possible, and there literally is not one available on the internet. If you install Honey right now, you can save like $50 to $100 on your shopping, doing nothing. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks, 10 million people use it, 100,000 5-star reviews. Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. After the 3-day break ended, the members of Class 1A gathered in their homeroom. The biggest question on the students' minds was who was going to be teaching them. All of the students knew that Urza was in rough shape after the USJ attack, so most of the students figured that someone else would be covering their class. These wonders would be answered as the classroom door slid open. The open door revealed that there would be no substitute. Urza stood in the doorway, but in an unusual condition. She was covered in bandages from her head to her toes, and both of her arms were in casts. Suiwasui was the first to speak. Mrs. Scarlet, it is good to see that you are okay. Mina Ashido got a freak-out look on her face. The pink girl spoke in a worried tone. You call that all right? She looks like a mummy. Minta then broke in with an unwelcome privy comment. Yeah, but a really hot mummy, out of nowhere. A sword appeared. The tip was pointed at Minta's chest. The bald-headed boy was naturally freaked out. Urza's glare was so fiery that the students could see it even from beneath the bandages over her eyes.